derangement syndrome.
Heard this.
So, very interesting. Not that surprising. Colin was doing his NFL predictions, and for I think the fourth time in the last 5 years, he picked a team not named the Kansas City Chiefs to win the AFC West. That's fine. Listen.
Yeah, the Broncos?
No, so what? So we can show you who he had on August 5th. He had the Chargers first, the Chiefs second, Broncos missing the playoffs, the Raiders missing the playoffs. It was well-reasoned. He also, formerly Southern California guy, likes Harbaugh, Herbert. They've always been, is this going to be their year? I didn't agree, but whatever. Rashawn Slater then went down, so he amended it.
Mm-hmm.
So one would think, okay, so he's dropping the Chargers.
Yeah.
Show me Collins post Rashawn Slater. How does that work? How does that happen? How does Rashawn Slater getting hurt make the Broncos better than the Chiefs? I don't understand it. So I tuned into the herd to watch to see his explanation, and instead, I'm treated to this gobbledygook from Colin about the Chiefs. Oh, let's be honest about Mahomes. He's been blown out in 2 Super Bowls. Explains why the Chiefs' dynasty days are coming to an end. Then a cool vertical video that Gianna of the Herd makes. The Chiefs' kingdom is crumbling. At Colin Cowherd. Guys, here's all I ask. Can we have more time before we write the obituary of the Chiefs dynasty? Can it not be when they are in the midst of the greatest 3-year stretch in the history of the sport? The last 3 years, they have been more successful or as successful as any team ever. They had no significant offseason losses. I understand that Geno and Pete Carroll came to the division.
I would consider a significant loss.
Oh, but they traded him.
You're lying.
Okay, so yes, I would. So I agree with you. I guess my point is, I think in the aggregate, they got better in the offseason than worse.
Sure.
So you know what I mean? They didn't have, Kelsey didn't retire, Reed didn't retire, Mahomes isn't out. They are 35-5 in the AFC West with Mahomes starting. They have been to 7 consecutive conference championship games. They've been to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls, including 3 straight. Now maybe it's going to come to an end, but declaring it already over and playing whack-a-mole about who's going to win the division, because God knows, Garrett Bowles got hurt today. Hopefully he's okay. If not, congrats to the Raiders, because Colin's going to put you at number 1.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. Listen, I agree with Nick that the dynasty is far from over, and trying to declare it over is insane and absurd, but you also don't have to lie about it and say that they've had the best 3-season stretch like ever. I mean, it's just not true. That belongs to the New England Patriots, and the Patriots did it even better. I mean, the New England Patriots were better teams during that stretch as well. I mean, even if we just go back to 2014 and make this 3-game stretch even longer, I mean, they were top in the offense, 29.3 points per game, and their defense was under 20, 19.6. Seems like a pretty great team. Won the Super Bowl 28-24. Then 2015, they get to the AFC Championship game, come up short against the Denver Broncos. But then in 2016, what happens? They have the greatest Super Bowl comeback in the history of the NFL. Beat the Atlanta Falcons 34-28. They averaged 27.6 points per game, and their defense was 15.6 points per game. All right, and that now starts year 1 of this 3-game stretch, 3-season stretch. And then season 2, the New England Patriots in 2017, 28.6 points per game, second in the NFL, and their defense again was awesome, 18.5 points per game, 5th in the NFL. And they lost in the Super Bowl, but still obviously made the Super Bowl. It was an unbelievable game. Nick Foles was just balling trick plays. That game had it all. And then, of course, the following year, offense still was great, 27.3 points per game, 4th in the NFL. The defense continued to be great, 20.3 points per game, 7th in the NFL. And they won the Super Bowl. They even beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, the team that Nick says is the most amazing franchise in the history of the world. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat Patrick Mahomes and won the Super Bowl against the Los Angeles Rams. So saying that's better than what the Kansas City Chiefs did in 22 is really kind of crazy. Their defense was worse than the New England Patriots. Their offense specifically in 22 was better than one or so of the year, at least 1 year better than what the New England Patriots had during that run. But then in 23-24 was absolutely worse, as you can see. Drops down to 21 points in 2023 and drops to 22 points in 24. So their offense certainly wasn't better. And Tom Brady lost by 1 score in his Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes got absolutely annihilated and had one of the worst Super Bowl defeats in Super Bowl history and had one of his worst games of his career. And it was in the Super Bowl. That counts for something. So yeah, I mean, like, it's just kind of silly, honestly, when we want to kind of invent those things. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And don't come at me with the win-loss record. The Chiefs played 3 more games because of the way how the schedules were, right? We added that extra game, so the win-loss record is a moot point 100%. But yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I think this whole idea, I talked about this in a recent Chicago Bears video, of people who are so obsessed with trying to get these takes out and what they think will be interesting or what people will say. I mean, this idea that the Chiefs now are just collapsing, or that they're going to just somehow not be great. What I don't get by Colin's take is that he talks about this. He's the one that really spoke about this so loud and so clear over the years, about this being a coach-quarterback league. That the team that has the best coach and the best quarterback together are going to win a lot more regularly than not. And I get that this team, in terms of the roster construction, hasn't been perfect, but they've clearly shown their ability to still win games and still do it. And that is because when you have the best coach, and when you have the better coach and you have the better quarterback, you're going to win more games with an inferior roster. You're going to be able to come away with it more often than not. That is the power of coaching. That is the power of coaching, and that is the power of high-end quarterback play. Of someone who understands what they need to do to get the win and can run the offense flawlessly. Combine that, obviously, with a fantastic defense, and boom, there you go. So that's what it comes down to. John Middlecoff had such a great post-game reaction to the Rams versus the Eagles. Now, the snow messed things up, and it made that game a little bit muddled, and Jalen Hurts hurt his knee. And so, like, that game was hardly a great evaluation as to what both those teams could do under normal conditions, as we saw the Eagles obviously dominate in the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. But he just talked about, like, the impact of coaching and how you are in a better spot to have a worse roster and a better coaching staff than you are having a better roster and a worse coaching staff. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's the power of coaching. And if Andy Reid was gone, or if it was like obvious that Andy Reid just is like doesn't have it anymore, and Patrick Mahomes is really aging out right now, then I would say, yeah, this is uncomfortable, and now the roster maybe isn't as good as it's been in the past, and I don't know if they could overcome, but that's not the case. That's not the case. And Andy Reid, throughout his entire career, has elevated rosters beyond, having them produce beyond what they've been able to do. And Patrick Mahomes has shown to be able to fit incredibly easy in those situations as well. So I don't understand that even if we didn't believe that this roster got better, which it clearly did just by virtue of it being healthier, how Why are they falling off this cliff? Why is it just all over and done with? That logically does not make any sense to me. Any sense to me at all. I could understand if the Chiefs were getting by over these years and they still pretty much had what they had in like 2018 and 19 and 20, connected, right? It was still this Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill balling out, right? Like it was still very much like that energy and all of that. And a great defense with Spags. But now Spags took a head coaching job somewhere else, and Tyreek Hill now goes to Miami, and Travis Kelce is clearly, just not in his prime anymore. Then I could understand why there would be more momentum, more confidence that the Chiefs are just done. That it's just like, that was fun while it lasted. I could understand that, conceptually at least. Like logically, I could be like, okay, I could see why people are drawing these conclusions. But that's not the case. You continue to have continuity with coaching. You're obviously not losing Spags. Andy is still coaching at an all-time level. Patrick Mahomes did not fall off a cliff. He is still Patrick Mahomes. And the roster is still going to be good enough to be able to be elevated by Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Spags. All the roster needs to be is good enough. It doesn't need to be elite. It doesn't need to be otherworldly. Because you have the best core. That alone matters, but now you clearly have pieces. This O-line will clearly be better. The defense is still going to continue to be great. Rashee Rice, who knows what happens with his suspensions, but he's most likely still going to play. I assume, I guess there's technically a chance that he plays those first 4 games, and they're like, well, you're now suspended for the rest of the season. I guess that's technically there is a chance, probably not unlikely. Who really knows how many suspensions or how many games it ends up being? And I'm not really in a position to try to guess whether it's 6 games, 8 games, 4 games, but it should still be at least half the season. My guess is at least in the playoffs, right? So I just, Xavier Worthy is going to be better. Yes, Travis Kelce is not what he once was, in 22 and 21 and 20 and all that, but like, he was still a top tight end in the NFL last year. Like, people understand that, right? He was top in the NFL in targets and yards and receptions. Like, he was still a workhorse. Yes, he was not what he was in 22, which was his best year of his entire Hall of Fame career. But it's not like last year he was just like, oh my God, this guy shouldn't even be playing anymore. Like, that's not the case either. So I don't get it. And again, we don't have to inflate what the Chiefs have been like Nick is doing. And I already know that when I first said that in the beginning, people were like, you're such a hater. You're such a hater. And then I went on and literally just praised the Kansas City Chiefs for the last 10 minutes. But I'll still be flagged as a hater for some weird, bizarre, you don't give Patrick Mahomes credit enough. I just said that him, Andy Reid, and Spags are the best core in the entire NFL. You just do it to downplay Patrick Mahomes. That's how you guys sound most of the time. But it's just, yeah, man. I don't get the take of just it's done for them. And I'm a huge believer in what the Chargers and what the Broncos are building, and I believe that they can win the division. But at the same time, it's like we got to put those teams in moments before we can really have any degree of confidence. We've seen the Chiefs in those moments again and again and again and again. And I actually like John Middlecoff's take better than what I had before. He did this like last week or something where he was talking about the Chiefs, and everyone keeps saying, oh, they were 11-0 in 1-score games, and that can't continue. And he brought up a great point where he was like, well, this is the NFL. Like, pretty much every game is a 1-score game, which is true. That's why when you look at the spread, the vast majority of games, it's always like -3.5, and it's just like pretty much every game always comes down to 1 score, no matter what, no matter who you're playing. And you're playing the Carolina Panthers, who are bad, it doesn't matter. You're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars with the backup quarterback, like they still somehow find their way to come down to like 1 score or not. It's just you don't have a lot of blowout wins, and that's why the score matters to me less than the actual quality of play. I don't care that it the game ends up being a weird score. You only won by like 5 for some weird reason. It's like, how did you get there? Who felt like that they were in control? Who was playing better football? Why was this game close? Was it because of a mistake? Was it because of a bad fumble? Was it because of a good bounce, a pass interference call? It's like you got to really see how this stuff unfolded. And in some ways, that's what people then use to go against the Kansas City Chiefs, because it's like, well, how did you win by one score? Well, it took like kind of a weird fumbled snap against the Raiders. Or how did you win this game? Well, it took like a missed call against the Falcons, or a blocked field goal. And like, and I get all of that, and that makes all sense. But at the same time, the Chiefs are always going to be able to navigate those situations arguably better than any other team in the NFL. So if you're going to continue to have these close one-score games, why do you think that the Chiefs now go from 11-0 to like 5-6? Like that's what I don't understand. Right? Can you rely on a fumbled snap or a blocked field goal every single game? Of course not. Of course not. But there's no reason to believe that Spags, Andy, and Mahomes are going to now lose their ability to win close games. And the only way now that they kind of fall off this cliff is if teams like the Bills and the Ravens and the Broncos and the Chargers, they have the ability then to be in so much more control of the game, which is what we saw with the Bills in the regular season. It was like they put the ball in Josh Allen's hands, and he was then able to not only convert that fourth down, but then get a touchdown. It was like, I'm in control of the game. I'm in control. I'm not giving you back the ball and giving you now some control. I'm taking the control. We have not seen Geno Smith and Pete Carroll do that with the Raiders. Obviously, they haven't played together with the Raiders. We have not seen Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos with Sean Payton be able to do that in this present moment. We have not seen Harbaugh and Justin Herbert and the Chargers do that right now. We haven't even seen really the Baltimore Ravens with a degree of consistency be able to do that. We've only really consistently seen it to a degree with, I'd argue, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Bills. But again, it's like when it happens in the regular season or the playoffs, these are all kind of different things. So, I mean, the 49ers had it for a little bit, but lost it. Obviously, their roster has changed. And same thing with the Rams with Sean McVay. And it's like, but that has changed now with age and also just roster and injuries and whatnot. So, though, that the Chiefs will be able to have that ability and will continue to have that ability. So, I don't get it. And this will be my last thing. This is where you get such whiplash, because I said it was too extreme and too ridiculous. Because Nick says about Chief derangement syndrome, it's the same thing on the other side of the spectrum. People saying that the Chiefs are going to four-peat, that they're going to win the Super Bowl, that there's no chance that the Chiefs could lose, and there's no chance that Patrick Mahomes will not be perfect in the Super Bowl, and this and that. And it's just like we get such extreme takes. And Colin, speaking of Colin, going into that Super Bowl said, Patrick Mahomes is Michael Jordan. He's the GOAT. 3P. It's inevitable, this or that. And then they lose, and he's like, can we relax on the GOAT talk, guys? Let's chill out on the GOAT talk. And it's like, you guys were the ones that were pushing this narrative. Like, that's why being patient and being consistent is just it's your own protection, man. It's your own protection. I mean, as soon as someone ever comes to me and says, oh, you just hate Mahomes, or you hate the Chiefs, or this, that, it's just like, that to me at this point, all it does is signal to me is like, oh, you don't actually pay attention. Oh, you actually don't really know what you're watching or listening to. Like, you would see a remarkable amount of consistency. That's what you see. And you probably also buy in to a lot of distorted takes and distorted lies. That's not on me. That's on you at this point. But we just need to be not so extreme to try to either crown a team as the greatest team in the history of the universe, or a quarterback as the greatest quarterback in the history of the universe. And we shouldn't be so quick to say it's over, it's done, see ya, bye. I mean, we saw that at the very end of at the next day on Monday after the Super Bowl. Going into the Super Bowl, it was Chiefs Kingdom, Chiefs Kingdom, Chiefs Kingdom. Oh my God, Mahomes can do nothing wrong. He's perfect. And then they lose, And now you got like Michael Strahan cracking jokes on Good Morning America or whatever the heck show he's on, right? Like they become like the joke of the town, and it's just like, that's wild to me. I mean, it is. It's wild to me. But then you try to have an extreme pendulum swing of someone like Nick saying, but they're the greatest. This is the greatest three-stretch we've ever seen. This is the closest they've ever gotten in the history of the NFL to a three-peat. And it's just like, well, we just said 3-game stretch. We didn't, or 3-season stretch. Like, no one said it has to be like in a consequential order. Like, don't get me started. Don't even get me started. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Chief Derangement Syndrome, CDS, and this whole idea that the Kansas City Chiefs are just, they're done. The Chiefs dynasty days are coming to an end. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.